Comedian Dave Chappelle is best known for his comedic abilities, and in 2016 he proved this by signing a massive deal with Netflix that would make him $20 million per special. Although it was a long road to get to this point, and along the way Dave has been slighted many times by the industry. In a recent Instagram video posted to his page, Dave took the opportunity to call out some of the biggest networks in Hollywood, thus leading to his cancellation. We're going to tell you all about it right here on IO, but first I need you to tap that like button to show some love to the channel. Now with that out of the way, let's get right back to the story. For those of you who don't know Dave's story, allow me to give you some quick context, and hopefully it will help you better understand exactly why he's so upset by all of this. Dave Chappelle started stand-up comedy when he was 14 years old, and he was very good at it. In the video he posted to Instagram, he even recounts a story about an older comedian asking him if he could borrow one of Dave's jokes for a television taping that he was doing later on. Dave was 14 years old at the time, so he didn't know any better, and still being naive to the industry, he happily obliged. However, one night this same comedian did the joke again, and so now furious, Dave approached him after the show, and again in the most naive way possible asked for his joke back. Turns out the older comedian didn't really care about Dave's feelings on the matter, and simply said something to the regard of, well, what if I just take it? For anyone out there who is an artist, you understand how long the process can take for a good piece of art to finally come to fruition. For Dave, this was one of his first good jokes, but that was just a taste of what he would come to expect from the industry. Now, from there, Dave went on to perform at the Just for Laughs festival. This is typically where comedians get their first big breaks. Sure enough, he was selected out of the pool of talent and soon would be working on the Chappelle Show, his very own show, but he was still so young in the game, and when it came to signing contracts, it was just like that older comedian. Another person in the industry decided to take advantage of a kid that just didn't know any better. Now, locked into this contract, Dave began filming for the Chappelle Show, which aired in 2003. By all accounts, Dave not only was the star of the show, but he had also created the concept and even was included as an executive producer on Comedy Central, which is where the show aired for 3 seasons. However, by 2005, Dave was fed up with how things were going, and so famously he decided to walk away from the show despite a $50 million deal sitting on the table. Although no money in the world would make him sit through the daily stress of the show and overall creative differences with the network. In his 18-minute Instagram video titled Unforgiven, Dave explains the initial deal and said, "That's how I got with Comedy Central. I signed a contract, and I signed the contract the way a 28-year-old expecting father that was broke signs a contract. I was desperate. I needed a way out, and it wasn't good money, it wasn't good circumstances, but what else am I gonna do?" I said. And all these white people sitting at the table told me, "Trust us, Dave, it's a good contract." And I looked around the table, and they all seemed to agree that it was a good contract. He then went on to compare that to the present just to highlight how these networks are essentially working together against him. Chappelle went on to say that the day that he called Lorne Michaels and agreed to do Saturday Night Live, not just Netflix but HBO Max announced that they would be streaming the Chappelle Show. The wild part was that he had pitched the show to HBO before, and you won't believe what they said to him. Dave explains by saying, "I told them what I wanted to do. Now these are executives, all they have to do is say, yeah, we'll take it, or no thank you, we won't." But they didn't say either of those things. They went too far. They said literally, "What do we need you for?" That's what they told me as they kicked me out of the office. And here we are all these years later, and they're streaming the very show that I was pitching to them. So I'm asking them, what do you need me for? People think that Dave made a ton of money from this show, so why should he be complaining about it? But sadly, that couldn't be further from the truth. When he decided to just leave the show in the middle of his contract, he didn't get paid anything, and now these networks are running his show still without paying him a dime. All because a long time ago when he was 28 years old he signed a contract. He signed a contract, and so now they can use his likeness in perpetuity. On the other side of things, Netflix responded very well to Dave's concerns. He called Netflix and told them that having them stream his old show makes him feel bad. Betrayed almost by the people that saved him. However, Netflix didn't even fight Dave on it. They simply said, "No problem," and removed the show. Artists love Netflix because they do what they say they're going to do, and they make sure to pay people for their work. But HBO Max and many other streaming services are going to start running his show, and that's why Dave Chappelle has decided to cancel himself. He is urging his fans or anyone out there just watching TV to purposely boycott the Chappelle Show. For a creator of any kind, publicly bashing the people that run the networks and run the industry you want to be in can be viewed as a terrible idea. However, for Dave Chappelle, he seems to have moved past his breaking point, and we commend him for putting his career on the line to call these networks out for what they did. With that though, let's check out some of your comments from the video titled "Dixie D'Amelio Cancelled After Calling Out Trisha Paytas." Noelle Harris says, "Oh, the irony of Trisha calling someone a gnat with no brain when it's actually spelled G-A-N-A-T. Everyone involved looks so dumb." Yeah, very dumb indeed. She needs Grammarly if anything. This is Sarah81585 says, "This is the reason TikTok should have been banned." You're probably right. Jasmine Kent says, "Being an influencer should come with an age restriction." Yeah, most definitely, that's a great idea. Panda2003 says, "I know she just wants to protect and defend her sister, but there's much better ways than doing this." You are exactly right. Dr. Anarchy says, "I'm heavily losing faith in humanity." Well, when Dr. Anarchy makes that assumption, then I guess we have lost all faith in humanity. But that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. I've been your host, Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy.